Step into the Marlborough Public Library this month and you'll find a vibrant collection of art that grabs your attention and holds it. Each piece in Mike Sylvester's exhibit speaks to a different time in his life, a unique inspiration, or a particular connection he's made along the way. Mike's love for art began early. He recalls how his passion for drawing was sparked by his father.
I started drawing at 8 years old. It was funny because my father would sketch pictures of Dick Tracy, and he'd do Gagwood, from Blondie. This is old stuff. I kind of looked at some old drawings of his, and I said, I'm going to start drawing. I started drawing, and I remember his detail to the ears. And one of the, I don't know if you can get this, but my best ear that I'm very proud of, that picture of the ear, and it was just amazing, the quality of the ear. And so my worst ear that I've ever drawn was this ear. You can see this, a self-portrait. And it looks like wrestler's ear, like cauliflower ear. And so I took a course at UMass, and it was basically, the assignment was do a self-portrait. Looked in the mirror, did a self-portrait. I was all excited about it and showed it to my teacher, and she says, "You look very angry in that picture." And I'm like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Okay." And then I go home and showed my mom, "Why do you look so angry in this picture?" And so I looked at it, I go, "What?" And she says, "We tend to draw emotions that we're not aware of." So it was a pretty interesting lesson in self-awareness just through art. I thought that was really cool.
What started as a childhood pastime grew into a lifelong pursuit. Mike credits a pivotal figure in his early artistic development, Beverly Rinck, a local art teacher who conducted lessons from her basement.
She was a teacher in Marlborough. She had like 5 students in her basement, and she basically would go and we'd have something set up. Everybody would draw something different, and I was like 12 years old. And so we all do this little thing. I was drawing, I remember this coffee grinder. It was all pastels, got an orange, and I remember that picture. I loved it so much. I sold it to my mother's friend. She died. I tried to get a hold of it like 5 years ago. Nowhere to be found.
Mike's early works included traditional mediums like pastels and charcoal, but as technology evolved, so did his approach. Today, every piece in this exhibit was created digitally using an iPad and the art program Procreate.
Basically, there's layers on here like Photoshop, but I don't use the layers because I don't know how to use them. When I went to the Apple store, they go, "You don't use layers?" I go, "Yeah." "No, I don't." He goes, "Well, that's just one take." I go, "Yeah." If I'm like I erase it just like a regular medium that I use. But I do everything on the iPad. Everything that is here is on the iPad. So that's the medium I use now.
The exhibit features detailed portraits of celebrities and personal acquaintances, his favorite subject.
So I have a tendency of really connecting with people, and I like drawing portraits of people. I started off doing still life, like I said, with Mrs. Rinck in her basement, but then I kind of morphed into doing celebrity kind of thing, portraits. And I realized that when I was drawing Tom Brady, for instance, I remember looking at his eyes and I saw my brother in him, and because he had a lot of same characteristics. My brother was very competitive, and so I could see all this stuff coming out just by drawing his eyes. And so then I just started getting on this rampage, just drawing portraits and trying to really capture and connect with that, because I really look up to like the Beatles and stuff. I drew John and Paul, and so I have done landscapes. I did this. Friend of mine posted on Facebook. It was a picture of him and his wife in 2 canoes, and they were kissing. And so I saw it, and this is right after I got off. I saw it, Monet, immersive Monet in Boston, and I remember reading one of the books about Monet, and it says you want to squint. You don't want to draw it or paint it exactly to see it. You want to draw it in a way that's abstract, that no one else sees. It's so you own it versus your picture is unique. So that was my experience with oil painting. I was a miserable failure when it came to oil painting, but charcoal, pastels, the iPad, that's my medium.
Mike's art doesn't just stay in Marlborough. Over the years, his work has reached audiences far beyond, including some of the very people he's depicted. One unforgettable moment came when Broadway singer Linda Eder saw her own portrait.
We had tickets to the Wilbur Theater. I had my portrait. It was one of these types. It wasn't in frame because they wouldn't let me in the Wilbur with some big ass frame. So I walked in and they let me in. And I had that and John Lennon because on an interview with Linda Eder, somebody asked her, who would you like to have coffee with, dead or alive? And she mentioned a few people, and then she mentioned John Lennon. I'll bring the John Lennon, and I'll bring Linda Eder. And I'm at this table, and she keeps looking down at our table, me and my friend. And she interrupted her show and said, what are those there? And I go, it's yours truly right there. It's you, Linda. And she said, and I handed it to her, both John Lennon. She thought it was Josh Groban from a distance, but it was John Lennon. And she says, these are beautiful. She shows them the pictures, the audience. Interrupt the whole show. And then she's like, afterwards, she was defiled. She said, what was I now? So that was really, really cool. And then she actually posted it on her YouTube vlog. So she was talking about their Boston trip, and she said, I had this great artist, Michael Sylvester, and she showed the picture right next to her. Does it look like me? And I was like, wow, that was really cool. So that was a great experience.
Mike's encounters with celebrities doesn't stop there. He also had the opportunity to meet and share his art with another iconic figure, former Red Sox manager Terry Francona.
I drew this just basically sketch. This was back in 2013. Every year they have fanfare at the Fenway, and so I'm in line. I got my portrait of him. I'm all excited, and I say, I get to him, and I say, can you write World Champs ALCS greatest comeback of all time for free? And his agent must have said, dude, it's like 20 people behind. He's just gonna write his name. And then Terry Francona, what do you want me to write? And he wrote everything I asked him to write. It's right there. You got a Beckett sticker saying where. Put your phone to that. You'll see where he signed it, when, and the whole thing. So it's authentic. So that was probably a real. That and the Linda Eder was the best experience of showing my works to people I've drawn. Really, really cool. I really wish John Lennon was still alive. I would have went to New York City and knocked on his door at the Dakota.
As the exhibit continues to draw visitors, Mike is already looking ahead to new projects. Whether it's experimenting with new techniques or diving deeper into portraits, his passion for art remains as strong as ever.
Yeah, back in 1971, if somebody had said to me that in 2025 I would have a gallery of a lot of my work that looks a lot more professional than they did in 71, 72, 73, I would think it was a dream come true. This is not my first venue. I was at Wellesley Public Library. I was at Shrewsbury. I was at the Museum of Fine Arts. Just getting links there yet. Maybe future. Got to get a little bit more diverse, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have thought that. And I still, like I said, I still keep in communication with Beverly Rinck in Marlborough, and she's just, I mean, she launched my career, if you will, and I'm really, I owe a lot to her. And my father. My father he put the bug in my ear on drawing like sketches, and then I went into detail. He saw my work when he died very early in 1992. He was only 59 years old. I'm 65. So, yeah, I think he's wrong.
Mike Sylvester's exhibit will remain on display at the Marlborough Public Library until the end of the month. Whether you're an art enthusiast or simply curious, it's a must-see display of talent, passion, and creativity that reflects both the artist and the community he's called home for decades. For WMCT, I'm Ryan Maliar.